What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including a WWE legend will never wrestle again, Rhea Ripley injured, WWE officially end an iconic rivalry, the real reason behind a WWE star off television, WWE make major edits to a segment, Triple H has been called out, Charles Robinson's condition after Night of Champions, fans hijack Night of Champions post-show, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new videos on Wrestlelamia XL. And now let's see the intro and get straight into our first story. Now, first story looks at a WWE legend and confirms he will never wrestle again. Now, our top story today takes a look at the possibility of the head of WWE creative Triple H potentially wrestling again. Following Night of Champions last night, Triple H wanted to put rumors to bed that he could potentially compete in the squared circle again. But whilst it was almost certain that the game was never going to compete again, he's now confirmed that he won't wrestle in any capacity, and if he ever does wrestle again, it would be the last thing he ever did. Trust me, there ain't one more match left in this. You know how they say, if it's the last thing I do, it would be the last thing I do. The game suffered a serious cardiac event a number of years ago, and this brought Triple H's in-ring career to an immediate and sudden end. Now, with Triple H stating that he could potentially pass away if he wrestles again, this is a clear sign that Triple H's heart issues are substantial, so it's likely that we'll never see Triple H take another bump in WWE ever again. The head of WWE Creative has previously stated that he doesn't hold any resentment when it comes to this. The game has had an iconic career and he's still ingrained in the current landscape of pro wrestling as he continues to steer the ship for WWE. Next up, WWE officially end an iconic rivalry. Due to the way John Cena vs CM Punk ended at Night of Champions last night, there was speculation that the feud may not be over. The two without a doubt brought the best out of each other. However, according to Triple H following Night of Champions, the rivalry is officially done and the two legends will never be wrestling in 1v1 action ever again. It was incredible, you know, you're talking about two superstars in John Cena and CM Punk that sort of defined an era, and not only that defining an era, but sort of in a way defined each other. You know, if you talk about CM Punk and his career, you automatically talk about John Cena. If you talk about John Cena's career, you'll talk about CM Punk. It's just two generational stars coming together one last time. I think as much as it meant to fans here and around the world, I think that's what it meant to John Cena, to CM Punk. I'm glad we're able to put that fight together to deliver here in Saudi, and I'm glad they got to do it before John called it a day. But whilst the two will never wrestle in a featured singles match again, WWE could always deliver a multi-man match featuring both men. There have been calls from fans on social media this weekend to turn the planned Cena vs Cody Rhodes rematch into a multi-man showdown. Fans are also pushing for Punk and even Randy Orton to be added in, but based on the reception to the initial Cena vs Rhodes match from WrestleMania, it's easy to see why fans aren't exactly thrilled about the possibility of seeing Cena vs Rhodes yet again. Doing a triple threat or even a fatal four-way at SummerSlam would be a welcome change of pace for Cena's reign, and it would allow him to wrap up the Orton and Punk feuds in a more satisfying manner. Next up, the real reason behind a WWE star being off television. Now, Fightful Select have provided an update on Otis's WWE absence. According to the new report, the former Money in the Bank holder is undergoing elbow surgery. But we have an update on the absent WWE talent. Otis hasn't wrestled in nearly 2 months, last competing on the May 5th episode of Raw where he lost to Rusev. However, word emerged recently that he was injured and off the active roster when WrestleVotes reported his status this week. Fightful spoke with close sources to Otis who claimed that he was undergoing elbow surgery in the form of arthroscopic to see what was ailing him. As things stand, he wasn't expecting to miss too much time, but as is the case with injuries, that can change very quickly. We'll wish Otis a speedy recovery. Now, we're also sending our best wishes to Otis, and we can't wait to see him back on WWE programming. WWE are without a doubt going through a wave of injuries on the main roster currently. This is unexpected as WWE have virtually abolished their live event business model, so the WWE schedule is significantly more relaxed. But with that being said, pro wrestling isn't ballet, and injuries can occur at any time. But what about another injury? Is Rhea Ripley injured? Speaking of injuries, Rhea Ripley has sustained bruised ribs. Speaking following Night of Champions last night, the former women's champion stated that she suffered the injury thanks to the kendo stick shots during a street fight. Thankfully, Ripley would clarify that she didn't believe she sustained any serious injuries, which means she won't likely miss any time away from WWE television. Ripley's match versus Raquel Rodriguez received universal praise last night, and some would even claim that it was Rodriguez's best match ever in WWE. It was specifically praised for the innovative spots on offer, and it was later reported by PW Insider Elite that Jamie Noble and Molly Holly produced the match, so praise should also be offered to those two for putting together a stellar PLE offering. Next up, the next women's title feud has been revealed. Now, ahead of Night of Champions last night, Rhea Ripley would confirm that following the PLE, she was coming for the women's title and Io Sky. Ripley cut a promo that has social media talking where she clapped back at fans for saying that she should stay away from the world title scene. At the end of the day, if I don't want a championship, then what the hell am I doing in this business? If I don't want to be the top dog, then what the hell am I doing in the WWE? If I don't want to be the best that I can be, then why don't I just quit? I'm sick and tired of people being like, Rhea shouldn't want the championship. No, Rhea bloody Ripley wants the bloody championship. I want the gold. I want to be the top dog. This is my division, and I've got to show everyone who Rhea bloody Ripley is once again. A Ripley vs Sky is likely the direction for SummerSlam, however it's also possible that WWE will run the highly anticipated match at Evolution in 2 weeks' time. Currently, Sky is without an opponent for the major show, and with just 2 editions of Raw to build a show, it may make sense for WWE to build on their prior history and book Ripley vs Sky for the show. There's been justified criticism directed towards WWE for how they've handled Evolution. The show has barely been mentioned on WWE programming, and it's almost as if they're outright ignoring it. Evolution 2 should be a significant event that celebrates women's wrestling, and doing the show with just 2 weeks build is really disappointing. Next up, WWE makes major edits to a segment. Now, as is traditionally the case when it comes to shows that air on tape delay in the US, WWE have made some major edits to the SmackDown broadcast this Friday. As well as the usual fake crowd noise that has been a WWE staple since the late 90s, WWE would also edit out Punk's promo slip-up. There were some edits made to WWE's main event segment. The show aired live from Riyadh and had power issues. However, the main event segment with CM Punk and John Cena ended up getting edited as well. A source in WWE confirmed what anyone's ears that watch both broadcasts could see. There was an additional crowd noise in the US broadcast, and Punk's line flub was edited out. Now, this is one of the advantages for WWE when it comes to shows airing on tape delay in the US. The issue is that the show still aired live across the world, so it's incredibly noticeable when WWE manufactures crowd noise and edits segments if there are any botches or blunders. Next up, Triple H is called out. Triple H's social media posts are often filled with trolls and critics. However, his post on X following Sami Zayn's victory over Karrion Kross was swamped with disapproval and questions. Triple H would post that Zayn had overcome adversity to defeat Kross, and fans wanted to know what adversity Triple H was even referring to. The comments were somewhat valid, as Triple H was acting like Kross was some huge threat despite not winning a PLE match since 2022. Whilst this was a case of Triple H just embellishing Zayn's win, it felt insincere, and it's easy to see why fans were critical of it. Fans are hoping that WWE continue to feature Kross in meaningful programs on the main roster, and most of Kross's critics were labeling the match as a make or break for Kross. Kross's weaknesses, according to his doubters at least, are his in-ring work, and these fans state that Kross flops when it comes to major matches against the likes of Drew McIntyre and AJ Styles. Whilst the match versus Zayn was decent, it's unclear if the quality and offer is going to be enough to stop these criticisms completely. You also saw multiple back bumps made by Kross, so was that really the reported reason why WWE aren't pushing him? Next up, Charles Robinson's condition after Night of Champions. Now, at Night of Champions, chaos erupted during the undisputed WWE Championship match between Cena and CM Punk. In the heat of the action, Seth Rollins attempted to cash in his Money in the Bank contract, but as Rollins called for a referee to make it official, veteran referee Charles Robinson, also known as Lil Nate, ran down the ramp toward the ring at full speed. However, as he got near to the ring, John Cena managed to pounce him into the next season of LFG, effectively preventing the cash-in from happening. The move left Robinson down and out, and fans were concerned about Robinson's well-being, especially since he remained silent following the incident. However, he later took to Twitter to break his silence in a very humorous way, posting simply, "I'm alive." Lil Nate is definitely one of the best referees out there to do it in this business, and he definitely has a place in the Hall of Fame. Next up, WWE ticket sales soaring. Now, whilst there's no denying that the WWE product isn't as hot as it was a year or two ago, this hasn't translated when it comes over to ticket sales to big events such as SummerSlam. According to WrestleTix, SummerSlam Night 1 has sold over 38,000 tickets. With not a single match confirmed for the show, this is a huge achievement. The stadium is set up for around 45,000 fans, so it's likely that once the big matches are announced for the show, they manage to sell out the MetLife Stadium in New Jersey for possibly both nights. And finally, the fans hijacked the Night of Champions post-show. Now, final story today takes a look at an interesting chant that occurred during the post-Night of Champions show. Matt Cardona, aka Zack Ryder, was name-dropped in Cena's pipe bomb, and the fans in Saudi Arabia decided to chant for Cardona whilst Triple H was talking on the show. Cardona has already taken to X to address the chance, and it's unknown if this renewed popularity and relevance will influence WWE to bring him back for another run. Cardona previously stated that WWE haven't reached out to bring him back, but this could have changed in the recent weeks. Whilst Cardona is definitely talented, the WWE roster, specifically the main roster, is truly stacked. WWE have debuted so many new names recently that it could be argued that Cardona will be just lost in the shuffle. It also doesn't help that SmackDown has now officially reverted back to its original 2-hour format, so opportunities for talent to receive TV time are now drastically reduced. But there you have it, folks, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.